Episode 43 of the Long Haul Podcast. Welcome, everyone. My name is Nine, as always, joined by my good friend and co-host, Kerry. How are you doing, good sir?
Hey, man. Don't know about you, but I'm melting right now.
I can imagine, man. I've seen actually I was looking at the temperature map of Europe, and there's a huge red spot over Portugal right now. It's not so bad here, so I'm not melting. It's actually
it's like terribly bad right now here. So yeah.
Are there fires going on over there right now, or is it already an issue?
No, it's for now. They had some fires, but they put them out. Everything is under control.
Thank God. There's not much left to burn anyway, I guess, right? After the horrible fires from the past few years. But we're not here to discuss the weather and global warming and whatever. We're here to talk about artifacts. So welcome, everyone. It's been another week, and there's been some stuff happening. Let's put it like that. After we made last week's episode, a patch came out on the 9th, right on Thursday, which we're obviously not going to go through the whole thing. You guys know what's in there, but we thought it would be interesting to note a few things before we move on to the main topic of discussion tonight, which will be the second section of the items, obviously. I personally, before we go to the other points, I personally wanted to say that one of the biggest things with this patch last week was fixing the ability to spectate games. Spectating was crashing all the time, and as soon as I saw this, my first reaction was, okay, let's do a quick tournament and see how motivated people are to play some competitive artifact.
And so I think that's like the most important news of it all. How did it go? How much did people attend? How did it go?
So the huge problem that there is that there's no tournament client in the game. So I had to use a third-party website to get all the players. And then the other thing is that spectating works through being friends on Steam. So I had to add all the players to Steam and coordinate the matches via the third-party website, and then jump in to spectate the games as the games were going on. So people had to deliver me the results. I would tell them what the next match would be, and they would be playing, and I would be casting. So I started organizing it Friday night. And we managed to get 28 players, which, to be honest, I'm super happy with.
Good.
Yeah, pretty good. So that was a really nice single elim event. It was like about 4 hours, not too bad. And maybe slightly disappointingly, Mono Red won. But it's we saw a bunch of stuff, man. We saw ramp, we saw a lot of rapid deploy decks, we saw mono black aggro. The deck
that's pretty weird because it's disappointing because it's like we're going back to 1.0 meta, but I did not expect mono red in 2.0 to be like so strong right now.
I mean, this is a very small tournament. I don't think we can say that mono red is like the best deck or something like that. It was a very, very aggressive deck, like very low curve, very aggressive items as well. Triple Warhorn, I got super surprised by that. I wasn't expecting Warhorn to be like such a good card. But all the 3 games of the finals, there were 2 very aggressive decks just going at each other. The first game actually kind of got decided because the mono red player had triple duel, which is like a very rare occurrence. And it was just like dual smash your face, dual smash your face, dual smash your face. So it was interesting to see. And it will be interesting to repeat that again in the future.
Yeah. So that concerns me more than mono red is that the top tier, or at least what got to the finals, was like aggro, pure aggro, and not like mid range or combo or something like that.
I can't talk for all card games, but in the card games that I know, at least, it tends to be that when an expansion or a format is new, that aggro decks tend to dominate. So I'm not surprised at all. And Blue didn't have a great showing, but I think now that maybe people start having a tiny little meta to start focusing around, probably we will start seeing more mid-range options. But yeah, I mean, I think right now people are focusing a lot on getting those curves really low. I think that seems to be really important. There's also a bunch of very good cards that cost 1 mana, and a lot of good cards that actually fight for initiative without much effort. So, the incentive is there to lower your curve. So,
So you want to shout out who won?
Jester played in the finals and lost to an Ukrainian player called Furmans. And then Swellsong and Week Winner were 3rd and 4th. So 2 long haulers were 3rd and 4th. And Jester is also a well-known community member. So congrats to all of them. And yeah, I just wanted to mention that because I thought there was a cool point of the little patch thingy that we saw.
So next time you do a tournament, do it on a weekend that I'm not visiting my parents, so I can actually play.
We'll do. We'll see. I mean, I'll try to do another one, but I'm not sure when. So we'll see. But otherwise, regarding this little patch from last week, something that I think also deserves mentioning, man. Like we were discussing on the podcast for a while last week, they removed Reftel Mercenary Contract and Greevil Egg for rework. Unfortunately, for some people who wanted to play their Greevil decks in the constructed tournaments, the Greevil Egg was an essential component of that deck. But I think this is deserved. Like, these cards needed some sort of special attention. So
yeah,
it's good to see that they hear the podcast.
More than they just hearing, they might not even hear it. Don't know. Hope they do. It's just that the card needs to be reworked, and it's good to see that them doing this means that they actually know there's a problem and they can see that there's issues with the cards. So I'm happy that they're like tackling the problem.
Yeah, and I think a few discussions in the Discord also pointed towards these cards being somewhat of an offender. Is there anything else from the patch notes that you want to maybe mention before we progress?
Like the line just right after that one, they changed the chop, so it's always 3 gold to upgrade rather than starting at 5 and going down. So it's a constant value now, I haven't played much with the shop after this. I only played like 2 games after this patch. So I don't know if it's much better now or if it's kind of the same or if it's worse. I don't know if you were able to play more around the shop with this.
Yeah, for sure.
For econ decks, maybe it's better.
So the first thing I did when I saw this was obviously I had to work on Friday, but then with the rest of my free time, I picked up basically my Mjolnir deck again. And I've been smashing that against the wall a little bit. The shop feels better to me. The shop feels better. It's much easier to progress, and it feels like you can consistently progress. Whereas before, it was almost painful to press the upgrade button. Like if you in the previous version of the shop, if you wanted to like rush an item or something, it was like, oh man, this hurts, but I have to do it. Like boom, 5 gold.
Yeah. You'd never pay 5 unless you were playing like econ, right?
Pretty much. The only reason for you to pay 5 was always basically that you really need to rush something, and that's your game plan. Or otherwise, maybe it's draft and all of your other items don't do what you want them to do. But I think for the vast majority of decks, otherwise you were trying to pay 3 or pay 1. Or I presume this is a decision that Valve also did based on data that they had, that almost no one was upgrading at 5. When I think about it, I think like this: like it's already the large items are already gate kept behind the time gate, right? You're gonna need those 4 rounds minimum to reach tier 5. And that's if you want to rush. Like you're not going to be making enough gold every round to upgrade and buy an item. That will happen on occasion, but for the vast majority of games where you want to rush tier 5, you're not going to be able to upgrade, buy. It's just not possible that you generate so much gold. Even against rapid deploy decks where they're feeding you gold all the time, it's not necessarily easy. So I think it feels better. It also makes the shop a little bit less gimmicky because, at least personally, it's one of my complaints with the shop, was that it just felt like there was too much shit going on, like it's like, here's gold for free, here's a reroll, here's 3 items, here's whatever, and then there was a bunch of like hidden rules where either the hidden rules or you don't, because there's some kind of rules behind the logic of the items that get shown. So I feel like they were trying to simplify the shop, and they had these premises that they wanted to fulfill. That's fine. I think this is a good step. I still feel, I don't know. I somehow just always feel like maybe there is like an easier, more smoother version of the shop that we could find to solve the problems. But I can't say that I know the solution. So.
Yeah, it's like we said before. At least in my opinion, the shop is like the hardest thing to balance right now. And I tip my hat to Tams and his team, because I feel that every time they change the shop, it's been like a step forward and not a step backward. So there's not been changes to the shop that I felt that were worst and not better. So in a way, I think we're in the right path, and let's just keep going that way.
And I think I feel like that for most things, to be honest. Like it's like this. We had the Moon Days posts where they set out the rules for the game, and I gave them a lot of shit for disagreeing with a lot of those things. I still do. I still dislike a bunch of stuff, but I don't want to get into it. But ever since the discussion actually started, and ever since they've been doing the small patches after the Moon Days posts stopped, I feel like they've been, for the most part, listening to what people are saying, and I think improving the game. So regardless of whether I agree or not with a lot of the fundamentals change, I think the work being done is positive, and there's still a lot of work to be done, but the game is going in a good direction. And something that I really also wanted to mention from the tournament that I organized was, it was way more fun than I thought it was going to be, and it's really comforting to feel that, like I was afraid that I wouldn't enjoy it. I was afraid that the game wouldn't be fun anymore, and I feel like it's slightly growing on me, and and I had fun, man. I really had fun. So,
and that is the most important thing. Isn't it?
So I like that. I mean, again, like I still have a bunch of stuff that still kind of slightly bothers me, and I think there are things that will never stop bothering me just because of the love for 1.0, but overall, yeah, like you said, man, we tip our hats. I think they're doing a good job, and they just have to keep going at it. So from there, basically we moved to this week, where they once again show us what's been going on with the surveys. This relates to the last survey, which was the Blue Heroes. And so we're just going to go quickly through what the results of the survey show. I think there's nothing really that stands out here. So they say Blue Heroes overall seem less exciting to pick in draft, obviously. Venomancer feels bad. We talked about this, and it seems like they agree. He could stand to be more threatening to a tower, for example. So they think that it seems like they don't like the fact that for the most part you can ignore a Venomancer and then just deal with it later,
Yeah. When we talk about Blue Heroes, I kind of QQ'd about that, because when you abandon a hero in the lane, it should feel like a menace. Like, for example, Treant and Venomancer are 2 heroes that if you just leave them alone in the lane, they're gonna do chip damage. They're gonna take like 6 turns, 7 turns until they can take down the tower. It shouldn't be like that.
Definitely agree. So again, like not wanting to go too deep into it, but like maybe they could do what we suggested, make the wards hit the tower. Maybe Treant Protector could give also some sort of damage buff or there's stuff that they can do. They're going back to the drawing board and gonna work on that. So let's see what they come up with. Something that seems to be angering people a little bit is Crystal Maiden, and I see Gold Links saying that in the chat right now. So they said that Crystal Maiden is a bit trickier because she seems powerful in constructed, and in draft not as much. And again, we said this last week. I think it seems like a common theme for Blue Heroes, where you give blue is a tricky color, man. They do very specific stuff that can be busted in specific scenarios of card interactions. Like when you see a red card, you don't think about card interaction. It's like, oh, this stuff buffs my hero and my hero is strong. Good. And blue is more like, this card requires some finesse, requires a specific situation, and requires some sort of specific interaction. And then when you achieve that, it becomes busted. And that obviously means that in constructed, some things will be much better than in draft, and this is a tough balance to achieve. So yeah, I've seen a few people kind of unhappy about the fact that that they might want to rework Crystal Maiden. We will see. I mean, I think if personally, let me interrupt you just really quick. Personally, if they just add like a damage, if they just add a second ability on top or something like that, maybe that's enough, and I don't see why anyone would complain about that.
Yeah, I mean, she's like first on being boring, because if you play her, you're playing her for her passive. I mean, her stats are terrible. Her signature card is not good. It's not bad, but it's not that good. So overall, she's a bit dull, and I think. At least I know I voted for her for being extremely boring. And I know she's good, because her passive is the only thing that makes the card work. If she did not have that passive, she would be total trash. I mean, if you're playing draft, you're never going to pick her, most likely. If you're playing constructed, you're picking her if you're making a deck playing around her and her bonus mana. So she's really in a tough place. I would not consider her an overall miss, though, because I think some people might be a little bit confused what overall miss, or at least the way I understand. I did not feel she's an overall miss, because her abilities make sense, and they like picture what Crystal Maiden is all about. She's a squishy support that has a lot of utility. So I cannot consider her an overall miss. She's boring, that's true, but I don't see her as an overall miss. So I don't know, when people tend to vote for overall miss on heroes, what they're thinking about, because I can interpret overall miss as a way, and other people can interpret it in a different way. Uh-huh. So I don't know why people would say she's an overall miss. Maybe if we had like, she's not fun to play, she's too squishy, her stats are bad, etc. If maybe that's why people consider an overall miss.
It might be that when it's a lot of these things end up being like comparison to Dota, right? And I think at least when I think of Crystal Maiden in Dota, I think she's fragile, she's slow, she gives everyone mana, and she's got a really busted ultimate. Like, she's got a very good ultimate, which requires good placement and timing to use, but she's got a very good ultimate. So maybe, I mean, I feel like her card is fine. I don't feel like her card is like fun or super strong or so. But it is the fact that her mana aura right now is very strong. And if you give her a very good damage ability, maybe she becomes too strong. I don't know. But again, like, I mean, we always come back to the same thing, right? I'd rather see a much stronger hero than a much weaker. But at least if she could have some sort of AoE, maybe you don't need to make it like super busted, but maybe if she had some sort of AoE, maybe she would be more playable in draft. Man, I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a tough one to crack. But I think it's like you say also, how do you interpret these surveys where what does an overall miss mean?
Yeah,
what does
complicated from this?
Yeah, and a lot of people maybe don't even play Dota, so it's all very subjective. But I will say though, like on a more positive note for blue, there's a lot of heroes that really hit the mark. Lina hits the mark. Meepo, especially the new version of Meepo, seems really fun and actually strong. I've lost to Meepo in draft and I was like, what the hell just happened? Rubik seems really good, as we've spoken about. People say that Luna and Zeus also hit the fantasy. I can understand that they're thematically very good. It's not like they're super very strong heroes or so, but they seem to hit the mark in terms of
I don't know if Swell's on the chat. On the 0 to 10, how happy is he for Meepo going from blah on 1.0 to being super fun and useful in 2.0?
I don't think I've spoken to him in a while, because even though he played the tournament, he hasn't been playing Artifact because he, for the most part, really despises the overdraw pile. And also his Meepo deck was basically based around the fact that you could draw your whole deck and play a very long and very huge turn around your Meepos, and that's basically impossible.
Meepo Magic 1.0, right?
So if he wants to do Meepo Magic, it's got to be Meepo without the magic, or it has to be some sort of other concoction. But he's been focusing on other card games right now, so hopefully we'll get him back at some point. But yeah, he's just hoping for the game to improve before he commits time to it again. Yeah. In any case, so I think this is the overall consensus on Blue. I think most people will agree with the results, at least. I mean, it seems pretty close to what I have seen in the discussions and what I answered in the survey myself. This week we have the 10 and 15 item survey, so go fill that in and share your opinions about the items. And we're gonna
just before that, there's one thing that kind of it's a bit annoying. I mean, when we were filling the hero surveys, there was a part where they were asking if we consider the hero close to its counterpart in Dota. And you could skip because like there's no Kana, there's no Prelex, there's none of those heroes in Dota, and then there's like the same question on the survey for items, where they ask which of these, pick 3 items that look like something that feel the same to you as Dota, or that do not feel the same to you as Dota. And I mean, I haven't played Dota for years. And most of I think some of the items don't even exist in Dota. So I had to choose 3 items that did not feel like the same in Dota when I haven't played Dota. So I should be able to skip that, just like I was able to skip some heroes when we were doing surveys. Because if a lot of people choose an item saying that it doesn't look like it is in Dota, and most people don't even play Dota, or the item doesn't even exist in Dota, the info will be like incorrect, and it's still something that I needed to fill up that made little sense to me to fill up.
Yeah, I haven't filled in myself, but I agree with you. It is a bit weird to be forced to, and maybe you just don't have an opinion. Like even if the items in the game in Dota or whatever, maybe you just don't want to skip an opinion. Maybe you just want to skip because you don't have like a strong opinion. I don't know, man. Maybe they just don't like to see empty data points on the data sheet at the end of the day, but or maybe it's just a lapse. Who knows? So yeah, I mean, maybe if Valve listens, maybe they can correct that for next time. But I think it's also not a huge thing, right? I mean, I would be more interested in knowing also how many people fill these things, or getting some more actual data instead of like just like a general parse of the data. But that's just me, and I mean, whatever. You know, at the end of the day, what is important is that they make the game good and they listen to people. So yeah, guys, go fill in that survey and let them know what you think. And we're gonna go in straight and jump right into the game client here and talk about some 2.0 items. So we're gonna be talking about 20, 25, and 30 gold items, because obviously we've discussed the other part before. I think before we even talk about anything else, you have to speak about the best god tier item in this whole fucking game, which is obviously the Mjolnir. Man,
they fixed it.
This item is so fun. They fixed it. Yeah,
it's not fun. It's fun. It's fun for who's using it. It's like a big slap to whoever is taking that damage. That is not fun. I mean, when that shows on the list, I'm gonna say that is not fun to play against.
Dude, come on, this is so fun.
It doesn't mean I want it nerfed. It just means that I do not enjoy playing against that shit.
So this item, man, is just the nuts. It's just the nuts. So basically, my best decks until now are all just focused around my most successful decks in terms of having fun are all focused around just rushing a Mjolnir and smashing that shit on a Nyx and
By
pressing that
9
unit.
saying he's having fun. Having fun for 9 is like, I want to watch my opponent cry.
Yes.
That's 9 having fun.
Oh, come on. That's not the objective. That's just part of the ideal scenario, but it's not the objective. I don't want to make people cry, you know. It's just a bonus. Like it's just like oh, here's a sandwich. Yeah, can I put some of your tears on it? You know, that's what it is. So yeah, I really wanted to talk a little bit about Mjolnir because they fixed it. The chain lightnings used to be like double jumping on already dead creatures and so on. And they fixed it in one of the early patches. The only thing, man, that I really Valve, if you're listening, please make Mjolnir activate when he hits the tower, because right now,
because it's not broken enough. Let's go. Come on, let go.
I mean, right now it's like I've invested so much. I've spent the whole game killing shit, so I can buy this tiny little hammer. And then I put the tiny little hammer on my fucking Legion commander, and the Legion commander hits the tower, and nothing happens. There's no spark. There's no joy.
You can't do that.
There's no joy. Look. There's no joy. Look. Listen, it's not. It's just like it's sad, and I cry a little bit. You know.
You can't. Come on. You can't do that. If you have Mjolnir and you duel or you use Nyx, you just kill your target, shock the whole table, and then you just hit tower for damage, and then shock the rest. No, you can't. You can't have the best of both worlds. That would just be too good.
It would be nice though, and one is allowed to dream. So I think 10 out of 10, you know, like hashtag make Mjolnir even better. And good job. This is my favorite item in the whole fucking game.
I mean, the item is in a really good place. I don't think it needs to be even more buffed.
Another
you gotta admit it's the best attacking item in the game. It's like the best attacking item in the game.
Yeah, right now I don't know, man. This is it's actually difficult to say, right? Because it depends a lot on the scenario. And like I said, Warhorn, for example, was a very good like wideboard attacking item at the same cost as Mjolnir. You have Silver Edge, which is like super good in some specific scenarios. So I'm not completely sure that's the best. Sarlacan Spearman. Have you played against this item? This item, you have played with this item. I think you've killed me with this item.
I've played with it.
This item is very strong in the 20 gold slot, man. I've had games where this shit is like single-handedly like dealt 20 to a tower or something, because there are some specific scenarios where if you're winning the game or you're ahead on the board, for example, and you slap this spear down. When you're ahead on the board, you just press spacebar and wait for your opponent to solve the problems that he has, you know, like. And so this thing can very easily go like +8 siege or something like that in the late game.
It's just insane. It's yeah. I mean, because if Scheme only gave you siege, for example, it would be okay. But it gives you siege and attack, so you're gonna murder your target and still slap that tower very hard. I mean, I love the item, and I play 2 of those in my siege deck because the card is just so good. But I don't think it's broken because you're only gonna use these.
My items are broken, but the ones you like aren't broken.
No, I didn't say Mjolnir is broken. Like I said, I do not want it to be nerfed. I just do not enjoy playing against it. Because the thing is, it resets at the end of each turn, so it can grow, but then it gets resetted. Mjolnir will always do that stupid same 12 damage. Not 12, it's 3, then jumps 9 damage. So I just feel that the card is fun. It's counterable. If you play something like that costs a lot of mana, then your opponent can only pass once. So in theory, you can try. It screws you because you cannot do optimal play if you want to try to counter it, or you can just kill the hero that has it equipped and just be done with it. But the card is really fun. It's like one of those. First of all, Scheme is like one of the coolest mechanics. I think the Scheme mechanic is pretty cool. Too bad I didn't think about it on 1.0. But I don't know.
Who
It's,
knows,
it's
man?
just
We don't know if Scheme was an ability from the second expansion. We don't know.
well,
Could have
maybe
been.
yeah.
Could have been.
But yeah, overall the card, I think the card is pretty cool. It's not too, it's not, I mean, it's not too expensive and it's not too cheap. And what it does, like, if you only pass once, right, it only is going to give you like 4 attack, and items that cost 20 gold give much more than that, right? They give more than 4 attack.
It
Or does
really
it give you?
depends. It depends what they do. It really depends. But I think if you're going for siege, like in your mono black deck or something like that, this is definitely the best item you can
No,
go
but
for.
that's like the best in slot
Yeah.
weapon card.
Yeah, but if you're going for like Mjolnir gives +5, Silver Edge gives +5, and these are 25 gold items. So, even Apotheosis Blade at 30 gives +6. So it's more about the effects on the items. If you're,
I mean, the +6 is okay because you just press a button and then you obliterate your opponent.
Oh yeah, for sure. The +6 is not, I mean, it's not irrelevant, but it's not like the main thing for the item. And if you're going for damage anyway, like straight pure gold to damage ratio, then I think Claymore is probably number 1. But if you're going for siege, if you're going for like just smash the tower type thing, Sarlacan Spear is very, very good. Something that I have been struggling, for example, is more on the health side of things. Mm-hmm. If we go here to look at the health items, let me filter this out. I feel like the health items are overall like a bit worse than the attack items. There's obviously mixed ones. Like, again, I don't want to keep talking about Warhorn, especially because it's 15 gold, but Warhorn is like a defense item that gives attack. And Horn of the Alpha also is like a defensive item that gives attack. But like Spirit Vessel, and again, Dagon is also an offensive item. The pure defensive items like Holy Locket, like Hero's Cape, like Ghost Scepter are the items that, I don't know, man. Maybe HP is just less flashy than attack, right? Attack just feels so great because it's like, oh, look at me, I'm powerful. And HP just feels more like, yeah, okay, I'm not gonna die. Maybe that's the problem with it. But I don't know. Like specifically, Spirit Vessel.
But this is it's artifact. You want your heroes to die.
That's part of it, yeah. Like, I wanted to talk specifically about Spirit Vessel because Spirit Vessel is like a early to mid game item in Dota, where it's gonna heal and deal damage and slow and stuff to your opponents. Mm-hmm. And they made Spirit Vessel, for example, a 25 gold item, which is something that unless you're rushing it, you're probably never gonna get before like round 6 or 7. So it's presumably a very late game item. It gains charges when heroes die. And then you spend a charge and you give decay to an enemy or regeneration to an ally. It feels very overwhelming. Okay, it gives +9 HP, and mana as well, which for sure is worth a lot. But I feel like this item should be in the early to mid-game slot, where you buy this maybe in the 15 gold range or something, and you obviously have to reduce the stats overall. But if an item is going to be based around adding charges when something dies, I feel like placing it in the late game slot is not really adequate. So I would like to see like some sort of discussion or potential rework on that. And another card that I've hit is the Holy Locket, where it says whenever an enemy plays an ability or card, restore 1 mana. So this is not something that you can control. It's a bit like the mana denial cards, where the way that they've done these sort of mechanics are very like reactive, and so it feels a bit bad when you play this, because it's like, you play this and you're like, do something, and then if he doesn't do anything, it's like, oh, okay, he didn't do anything. So it feels in a way like sort of a not worth the investment for the most part. And I even feel like if this shows up in place of a Mjolnir or something, I'm like, oh god, come on. Like, I just lost a round, like, I just feel like, oh, I lost a round, like, let's roll the dice again next round, because I'm not buying this shit.
That's a super defensive. That's a super defensive item.
Yeah, and I'm sure there will be some sort of deck that could take advantage of that potentially. But I think for the most part, these items probably should be in a lower bracket. But I don't know. The 15. The fact is, the
You
15
always
gold.
need something to be on 25 and 30. I mean, would there be an item that costs 15 or 20 that you'd bump up the stats and make it like a later item?
Oh, I
'Cause-
guess
'cause
that's a good question.
Because it's really hard to say that this should be like early game, but you'll always need later game items. And I understand what you're trying to say, but it's always like a hard point to go here because you'd like have to pick up, like, for example, Gem of True Sight, bump it and make it better, or you'd have to get Warhorn, which is already super insane, bump it and make it even better because it's more expensive. So I think it's like I said, once again, this goes back to the shop. Shop is like a pain to make work, and this is like another how do you say it? Another peel of the onion. How do you say it?
Yeah, it's just another layer.
Another
Yeah.
layer, yeah.
I think you might be right. I don't know. I keep thinking items like these, maybe the way to balance them is really to just let it be as they are, maybe change the mana cost.
The Spirit Vessel, for example, I'm with you. Maybe it should go down one tier so people could get it like a little bit earlier. And because if the card is when something dies, put a charge in it. You want to make it. You want to make that engine work. You don't want that card to work for two turns. Because if it costs 25, you're probably going to get it like 6, 7 turn maybe. I'm not sure if you're not playing like money generating deck. So the vessel, I can understand that maybe you could come a little bit earlier, but the locket, for me, to be honest, it feels fine. But I have not played against it or played with it, to be fair. So
I think I've played it once, and it was like probably one situation where it didn't matter anymore because otherwise I wouldn't have bought it. But I was going to say that I think some of these items maybe the solution would be to change the mana costs. You know, like I think Valve are kind of reluctant to do that, and I can understand why partially. But maybe a card like Spirit Vessel, if you want to keep it, so if you want to balance it, maybe make it so that, you know, to play it, you're gonna have to spend a bunch of mana instead of just maybe playing it for free or something. I mean, I don't know. It's hard.
With the 3 gold every turn, you kind of make the being much faster to reach the 25 gold tier. So maybe the little tweak that they did to the shop might actually make you reach the 25 gold much faster now. So it might not be as big as a problem as it used to be.
It's possible. It's like I was saying, like in my Mjolnir deck, for example, that you want to absolutely rush Mjolnir as fast as possible, you have to upgrade every turn. And so you need to reach item 5, which you can do. You need 4 rounds to do that, right? So that means end of round 1, you upgrade to 2. End of round 2, you upgrade to 3. End of round 3, you upgrade to 4. And end of round 4, you upgrade to 5. That's when you buy Mjolnir. So you can drop the Mjolnir on round 5 if you're absolutely saving gold and upgrading every round. And that's not a guarantee that you're going to buy it. You're going to have to kill heroes and generate gold and so on. And I'm playing a bounty hunter deck, which obviously generates more gold than normal. So a deck that is not focused on it will probably not get a Spirit Vessel on the table before round 6. I cannot imagine, unless you are an economy deck. But why would an economy deck rush a Spirit Vessel? It doesn't make sense, you know. Like, you're gonna want to rush something that is really powerful and alters the board state, not something that gives a little bit of regeneration here and a little bit of decay there. That's not like what you're gonna be wanting to do. It's just very slow, I think, for the effect that it has. So I don't know, maybe reduce the cost and make it cost more mana if they feel it's too oppressive, or just tweak around the numbers, or just leave it as it is, man. It's also fair to say that not all items need to specifically like be super competitive or so. I know that people then are going to hate on the fact that some items are more competitive than others. It depends what they're going for really at the end. And the fact is we don't know that. Are they going for fun casual? Are they going for competitive, very balanced? We don't know. So it's good to speculate and talk about it. I think it's a healthy discussion, but it is what it is. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, regarding the 30 gold items, I think everyone will agree that they're relatively powerful. I've seen some people complaining about Radiance, that it's not very good.
It gives plus 10 attack.
Yeah, man. People. Yeah, how do I say this? Like, you look at it and you think, 2 damage. But the fact is, I've been. People have played Radiance against me, and it's like, oh, okay, that's a 2 hit on the tower now. So not only is it cleaning the creeps or maybe upkeep killing something, this is piercing damage as well. But
it's Lin wide. I mean, it's good.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, I think most of the items at 30 actually seem, how to say, powerful enough. Refresher Orb seems really good. There are heroes that really love this item. Radiance, okay, I haven't seen like a specific Radiance deck, but maybe it's fair to say that it's the worst 30 gold item, but I think all the 30 gold items feel good enough. Even Dark Blight Shield, which at first glance, it's like, I don't know, it's got so much interaction with so many heroes and so many abilities and so much stuff that it's like, it's a blast to play with Dark Blight. Niktasha's Guard, also super powerful. The stun is obviously great.
I just feel my only thing with, for example, Apotheosis Blade, I think should have like a 2-turn cooldown. I feel like 1 turn being able to completely wreck whatever anyone puts in front of you is completely insane. I mean, if you end a turn and you have like if you have initiative, I mean, your opponent is never going to block your target because he knows whatever he puts in front of it, it's going to die instantly. So I think it should have like 2 turns instead of being able to activate every turn.
I mean, I don't know, the games where I've seen Apotheosis Blade, I have to say I've not felt like it was like super oppressive. So I don't know. I think maybe we just need more games on these items now that the shop makes it easier to access these items. Maybe we'll get more of a chance to play around with them.
Apotheosis used to destroy the items on your target. Now it just kills the target. It's like it's a I win button.
I mean, at first glance when the game came out, this looked like the strongest item to me, and I don't think that's the case anymore. I also see Gold Link saying in chat that Niktasha seems like the worst to him. I've only seen Niktasha come into play once or twice, and it was just game over. That's my experience with Niktasha. Is like you have this complex board scenario. It's normally the late game. You slap this down, and the opponent can't respond because I mean, look, they're feeble, they're stunned, and they're rooted. I mean,
yeah, they're gonna die, and there's nothing you can do about it unless you play like Jasper Daggers or something.
Even then, I don't think Jasper Daggers works against this because this is like a static effect. But
not the 1 health, but they stop being stunned, right? And rooted and feebled. Doesn't it remove the rooted, feebled?
Because it's inactive. Yeah, sure. I thought for some reason that this was a static. Forget what I am saying.
I'm not sure if it removes the 1 health, which I don't think it does. It will always keep you on 1 health, but it should remove the stun, root, and feeble.
Yeah, I mean, Jasper Daggers is honestly an item that I have not seen much. So I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I have limited experience with these items. The items I've played the most are Dagon, Refresher Orb, and Dark Blight Shield. Yeah, maybe I should make some decks and play around with these things. But even then, like saying that this is the worst, maybe I should just activate once it comes down. I don't know. But I think at any rate, I think the 30 gold items are the least of our problems, I think.
Yeah, you don't get to see them much, but maybe bump it to like 2 to 3 armor. Maybe I'd go insane and go 2 to 3 armor.
Yeah, I mean, for 30 gold. All right, so I think, I don't know, unless there's anything else that you want to really touch on, I think we've done a good job of talking about this week's news and touching some of the items. Hopefully people have more ideas and they will share their ideas with us on the Discords. Hopefully other people will come out and make some more artifact tournaments, because I would enjoy also playing in some. Otherwise, yeah, let's see. It would be cool to see the community growing. I kind of wish that there would be bigger waves coming in. I'm not sure if there are bigger waves and people are just not sticking around, or if they've all just, I presume they've all just been like smaller waves. Also, guys, go annoy Sir Action Slacks to stream Artifact. I really want to see Sir Action Slacks streaming Artifact, and he's dodging it all the time.
Yeah, what gives? Why is he not streaming it?
I
know he got in because he was streaming when he got the key.
I've seen him in the game. I know he's been playing. I don't know if he's just reluctant to stream the game in its current state, which is completely fine. I know also he's been working on the his new videos, because there's a lot of stuff coming out. Yeah, it might just be he doesn't like the current view of the game because of all the placeholder art. But anyway, it would be cool to see more more known people playing the game.
I think we forgot something very, very, very important.
What's that?
DMs are back.
Oh yeah, did you see my my Reddit post? I don't know, man. I didn't play campaign much. I played maybe once just to see how it looked or whatever, and then I went in to take all the soundtracks out to put them on YouTube. And this week I was playing the All Meeples thingy, and then I made another one, and I saw the imps in there. That was cool. So we know that the imps are not gone, confirmed. I mean, nope. I never thought they were, but you know, some people thought they might not come back. That is clearly not the case, guys. The imps are coming.
Yeah. Looks and not so happy.
All right, so I think that does it for us this week, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back next week with another episode talking about what's going on. Yeah, peace and keep long hauling. Yeah.
See you guys next week.